What is good, my people, my peeps? Good afternoon. How are you guys doing? I hope all is well. We're just going to be ear hustling a little bit, listening to the recap of President Trump signing some executive orders. And one in particular you might be interested in is TikTok. Yes, TikTok. So we're going to ear hustle this afternoon. Make sure as you come to the building that you go ahead and hit the thumbs up, double tap your screen, and also subscribe. Subscribe today. Okay, so we're going to jump in here and just do a little ear hustling. I want to see what he's going to say about TikTok. I'm sure a lot of you guys are interested because you know there was a ban, and then he extended the ban and gave a grace for TikTok. But a lot of people are concerned, will TikTok stay on the same server? Because you know the Chinese basically owns the TikTok server and TikTok. And so will it stay on the server, or will it be a new server? We heard that it was going to be some sort of meta server. They were going to be calling it. We're going to see a lot of people said if it goes to a new server, it's a wrap. And I feel the same way. But let's hear what the president has to say. We're going to be listening to the whole session. Okay, so once he gets into TikTok, we'll start talking about TikTok. That's my interest for right now. And then the other executive orders that he's going to be signing. Okay, so we're ear hustling. My name is Ethereal. I am your host. Make sure you get those thumbs up and support the channel and participate.
100 days in Warren Township, Michigan, with the revitalization of this country and America's workforce, especially our United Auto Workers. I can't believe how pro-private union I've become. We're going to try
to get this all the way up to, so we won't have to waste no time. And try to get in the
what's
building.
Happening there, my God, from the terrible Democrat leadership and the violence that's in the city of Chicago. But I had the unique privilege during my very first role with Turning Point USA, almost a decade ago now, to travel in territory.
Get it to the Oval Office, baby. Hold on for a minute. Let me speed this up. We're recapping. This just took place about 2 hours ago. If you're just tuning in, we are recapping. President Trump has signed some executive orders today. One that sparked my interest was TikTok and what's going to happen with TikTok, and other executive orders that they'll be speaking about may spark your interest. So I'm getting it to the Oval Office.
So you did very highly. They're paying a big number. Do you want to talk, Scott? Do you want to say something about value?
Well, I'll with the vice president, and then I can follow up.
You'll say something.
Sure. Well, first,
as a result.
Sorry, guys. Trying to get right to it.
I don't imagine. And maybe I'll have JD. JD was very much involved in charge of it, and maybe I'll have you say a few words. Report back, and the points of the deal I think are great for our country. So, JD, do you want to give it a little talk, please?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so thank you, sir, for your leadership and for your help. We really couldn't have done this without the president actually ushering this deal over the finish line. There was some resistance on the Chinese side, but the fundamental thing that we wanted to accomplish is that we wanted to keep TikTok operating, but we also wanted to make sure that we protected Americans' data privacy as required by law, both because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's a legal requirement of the law that was passed last year by Congress. So we think that we were able to do that. Of course, we're going to keep on working at it, but this deal really does mean that Americans can use TikTok, but actually use it with more confidence than they had in the past, because their data is going to be secure and it's not going to be used as a propaganda weapon against our fellow citizens. We're very excited about it. We appreciate the cooperation of everybody involved, and it's a big day.
And I think I can say that especially the young people, they really wanted this to happen. They did not want to have TikTok closed. And I got, a little used to TikTok. I used it myself during the campaign, and it was very successful because you know how I did with the young voter. And Charlie helped me a lot too. And he said to me, you should go on TikTok. And it actually had, because we got record votes with the young voter, as you know, for the election. So I was a little bit prejudiced in that way toward TikTok. It was very good and very meaningful. But we have American investors taking it over, running it, highly sophisticated, including Larry Ellison. And Oracle, I guess, is going to play a very big role in terms of security, safety, and everything else. So we have very good controls. And literally, I would get a call from friends of mine who were fathers of young people saying, "Could you do me a favor? Could you get it approved, please? My son is driving me crazy." So we're getting it done, and they have a big audience, and we have great American investors. And here's your final copy. TikTok. Maybe if you want, we could take a couple of questions on TikTok, and then we're going to get onto something completely different. Okay? Yeah.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, you mentioned that China was resistant. Can you describe where China is now? Are they fully on board with this?
They're on board. I spoke with President Xi. We had a good talk. I told him what we were doing, and he said, go ahead with it.
The algorithm is still being leased coming from China. Are you satisfied that there's no security concerns?
Yeah. The biggest reason is that it's owned by Americans, and very sophisticated Americans, and people that love the country, and very so they don't want anything like that to happen. Yes.
Thank you. Is there any operational relationship with Chinese entities or staff to execute the deal?
With who?
With the Chinese.
I don't think so. Not that I know. This is going to be American operated all the way. And great respect for President Xi, and I very much appreciate that he approved the deal, because to get it done properly, we really needed the support of China and the approval of China. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, now that Americans will have operational control, do you want to see the algorithm suggest more MAGA-related content prioritized?
Oh, here we go.
MAGA-related. If I could, I'd make it 100% MAGA-related. It's actually a good question, but I would, yeah, if I could make it 100% MAGA, I would, but it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately. No, everyone's going to be treated fairly. Every
I hope
group
so.
will be, every philosophy, every policy will be treated very fairly. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you know the valuation? You know, the American companies can be valued in billions.
Well, they valued it very highly. They're paying a big.
All credit goes to the Secretary of the Treasury. Couldn't have gotten it done without Scott. Also couldn't have got it done without Sean Cooksey on my team, so thanks to them. The company will be valued around $14 billion. We actually think this is a good deal for investors, but ultimately the investors are going to make the determination about what they want to invest in and what they think is the proper value. The most important thing, it does protect Americans' data security. It ensures TikTok is still accessible. And on this question of the algorithm, which we've heard this a lot, what this deal ensures is that the American entity and the American investors will actually control the algorithm. We don't want this used as a propaganda tool by any foreign
I hope not, and not by America either.
Actually make these decisions based on what's good for their business as opposed to what's good for another government's propaganda arm. So that's what we've done with this deal. I think it's very good for the American people, and we actually want everybody to access this, whether they're MAGA or not. We just want it to be fair. We want it to be fair to everybody, and we think that's what's going to happen with this new arrangement.
Before they continue, I'm concerned about TikTok. I don't think it's ever going to be the same. Once American business, big business, saw how much Americans were interacting on TikTok and the money that TikTok was taking in, that's when their eyes opened. They did not care about TikTok when they thought it was just a children's app. They had no concern about TikTok when they just saw people just dancing and everybody thought it was just, just something for the children. But when their eyes got open is when TikTok became a search engine as well. Do you understand? TikTok is not just, it's almost like YouTube back in the day. Back in the day when people say, "Oh, I got a YouTube channel," people laughed at them. They took them as a joke, okay? And it wasn't serious. Nobody cared about no doggone YouTube back in the day. Okay, but now YouTube's a big thing. Everybody's trying to get a channel. Not everybody, but the people who are interested in trying to have a platform, try to get on YouTube, try to get on these different streaming platforms that are popular. Because times have changed, right? So TikTok, people took it as a game, and some people still take it as a joke. But TikTok became one of the number one service up comparable to Google. And Google got nervous. Do you understand? Because you can go and you search, just like you search on Google for any information, you can do the same thing on TikTok. But guess what? It's faster than YouTube. It's faster than Google. and because it was more connected, it was not policed. Okay. And what I mean by police, it was not just we only want this particular content, and it wasn't just full of propaganda by the United States. And this is my concern with TikTok being taken over by America, because now we're really not going to see what's happening in other countries like it happened before when we were on TikTok. It was like speed of lightning. You know what I'm saying? So now it's going to be propaganda. The U.S. I mean, just like they had to have control over the network TV shows, they want control over TikTok because people's minds were being awakened, okay, to realize we might be living in a bubble in America and not being told exactly what's going on worldwide. And you can get it faster than lightning on TikTok. And, you know, even though some YouTubers even joke about how TikTok, they don't think TikTok news is all this and that, but people go on TikTok to get the news. Even they do it now, and they use the clips from TikTok on their platforms. That's how fast you can get information regarding TikTok, even information that the government is hiding. So for me, it might be a no. It might be a no when they really switch over the content to just American servers and the algorithm, and then they're talking about it's not going to be mainly MAGA. I think it's just going to be mainly MAGA, and it's sad because it takes away everybody's freedom of speech, expression, and so on and so forth. But let's continue. And they're just only going to do a short segment regarding TikTok, but I had to get on my soapbox and say what I need to say. It's sad that we can't express ourselves without them trying to put us back inside a bubble, a box. Let's continue. We're ear hustling, guys. My name is Ethereal. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up as you come into the building, and subscribe to the channel today. And feel free to put your concerns, your thoughts down in the chat. This is an open platform. Whatever your thoughts or concerns are, they're your thoughts and concerns. We're trying to preserve freedom of speech as much as we can. Make sure no cussing, no profanity, and be respectful to the host. Let's continue to ear hustle.
And just to follow up on the Vice President, there were two pieces to the transaction. The Vice President's office has worked since the spring for the commercial transaction between the investor groups, and then Treasury and a group including the Vice President's office were in Madrid 2 weeks ago to negotiate with the Chinese, and it was a result of President Trump's close relationship with Party Chair Xi that we were able to get this across the line. We created a framework for Party Chair Xi to agree, and then on the leaders' call, Xi and President Trump discussed the final arrangement. So it was 1-2, and that was the final piece.
Will the U.S. government get any kind of annual payment as a result of this deal?
Taxes. It's going to make money, and we're going to get a lot of money in taxes. And, you know, China wanted to see this go. This is a great legacy for China, too. I thought President Xi was great in terms of his approval. We probably could have done it a different way, but it wouldn't have been the same. Wouldn't have been the same security at all. But I appreciated that he approved it.
So aside from taxes, there's no part of the deal that.
I gotta pause. I don't know why they keep talking about China's and TikTok insecurity when all of these platforms have been spying on you, all Americans. All of these platforms have been taking your information. Your government has been selling you since you was born, as soon as you came out the portal of your mama's womb. Okay. And they signed those birth certificates. You were put on the stock market. I need for America to wake the heck up. You are being bought and sold on the stock market day and night. Okay, America, you are the straw man. Wake up, wake up. I'm telling you, it's about national security is a lie. This is about big business, big money. Okay, let's continue.
Like a payment to the U.S. government?
Well, we're going to be announcing different things, but the U.S. comes out great. And I think China comes out great because they're going to have a very important legacy. And they have many other deals. You know, they have deals with us, and they have deals in here in this country. And, you know, they want to be treated fairly also.
So, Mr. President, the U.S. company could change the algorithm to push different content? Is that
The U.S. company will have control over how the algorithm pushes content to users, and that was a very important part of it. We thought it was necessary for the national security element of the law. We also just think it's important to protect American users. Again, we want users to use this platform the way they want to. We want the business to make decisions about content based on the interests of the business and based on the interests of the users, and that's what we think will happen with this new arrangement.
And they're paying a lot of money, and I think hopefully it's going to be a great deal. They're very sophisticated people. You'll see a list. Have you seen a list yet of the people? Well, you've been reading about it. I know Michael Dell's involved, and Rupert Murdoch's involved, and a lot of, and let's see, we have probably 4 or 5 absolutely world-class investors that love the country, and they made a lot of money with the country, and many of them are in a somewhat related business, so it works out.
Keyword, investors. Investors. I'm telling you, it's all about big business. They do not care about your security because they wouldn't have took your boy from Facebook, the book of the face, to court because he was selling your information. And that was American-owned company itself, right? Right. Okay. It's about big business and who can control the narrative of the history of the United States. All right, let's continue.
Pretty well, and they're going to be very careful about all of these questions that you've been asking.
Who else beyond Dell and Murdoch?
Well, it's a blue chip group of investors, and we'll be announcing more about who exactly is involved in the deal in the days to come.
Oracle's playing a very big part.
That's right, sir.
And Oracle really understands this, and I think they're actually, and they've been involved for quite a while running it for the previous people, and so it's really, I think it's going to be very well protected. Very, very prestigious deal, actually.
On that point, Mr. President, as the President said, Oracle has actually had a role in housing the data for a long time. ByteDance organization in China. So Oracle had a pretty interesting perspective on what was necessary to actually create true data privacy protections for Americans. They were a very important part of getting this thing done.
Mr. President, you told us a couple of weeks ago you thought that the security concerns were overrated, but were there legitimate concerns when it comes to safety?
From my standpoint, no, because the people that own it are, they're not China-centric, they're USA-centric, and they're very smart people. I guess you could say it about everything. Everything is what's secure nowadays. Things that you think are totally secure turn out not to be. But I think in this case, it's going to be as secure as you can be because of the ownership and the people. And they have a big investment. It's to their advantage to make sure it's good and safe. Yeah. Anybody else? Do you have a question? No, behind you.
Well, I just want to say, do you think this move and getting this deal done, Mr. President, do you think this honors the legacy of Charlie Kirk? He's specifically pushing you to get involved with TikTok in your campaign, helping win numbers. Do you think this deal honors him?
Well, I think it's a good thing. It's a good sign. We're doing very well, as you know, with the trade deals. We're doing very well with China, and a lot of them. We're never treated properly. We were for 4 years, actually, but we were never treated very properly by other countries, and we're doing well. We've never done this well. We have, because of the tariffs that are coming in, the deals that are being made, $950 billion in one case, $950 billion, where previously they paid nothing. We have, as you know, in Japan, it's $550 billion. South Korea is $350 billion. That's up front. And one of the things I can say, I announced it lightly before, but we're taking in tremendous amounts of money with tariffs. We've never seen anything like it. No country's ever seen anything like it. I'm going to devote a little bit of that money, a little bit of the tariff money to our farmers. Our farmers have been incredible. They're the ones that let us survive and eat and enjoy our lives, right? Eat too much, maybe in some cases, like mine. But I will tell you, we're going to take some of the tariff money, relatively small amount, but a lot for the farmers. And we're going to help the farmers out a little bit because during this transition period, a period where we're taking in incredible amounts of money, we'll have a little bit of a shortfall with the farmers until the tariffs kick in, because they haven't kicked in for the farmers yet. And I decided before, and I spoke to all of the people here, that I want to make a contribution out of the tariff money a small percentage of it, but it's a lot for the farmers. It'll make the farmers feel very good, just help them through the transition. And ultimately, they're going to be making a fortune. They will be one of the top in the whole world in terms of percentage gotten from the tariffs we're taking in. But we have so much coming in that, in fact, just get the word out to the farmer, because they'll be struggling until the transition's complete. Then after that, they're going to do, I think, better than they've ever done before. Last time I said, get yourself a larger tractor and more land. And that was when they were doing very poorly, and they ended up doing that, and they did very well. That was with the deal we made with China. Unfortunately, Biden forgot about the deal, and he never enforced. I enforced it till the end, and China was very honorable. But when Biden came in, he didn't enforce it. So when you don't enforce a deal, they don't do it. So it's terrible. Biden was very bad to the farmers of our country. So we're going to be doing that. It's an honor to do it, too. Brian, did you have a question?
I'm just going to say, what's your message to the millions of small businesses here in the U.S. that really rely on TikTok?
Okay, so he's going in and out of questions being asked. He did address TikTok at the top of this broadcast. We're recapping right now regarding TikTok and what's the future of TikTok. It's now going to be American owned. The algorithm will be American controlled. If you have any concerns or your thoughts about, will you still be on TikTok? How do you feel about TikTok being totally American owned? Do you think now it's just going to be a pure propaganda machine for America? Although they're telling you they're trying to protect you all Americans from the enemy abroad, but the enemy sometimes was within. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. But we're going to continue to ear hustle, and they're going in and out talking about the tariffs and different things of that nature. He's taking questions from the press. All right, we're ear hustling. My name is Etheria. Go ahead and get the thumbs up. Thumbs up. Feel free to put your thoughts in the chat. This is an open platform for open dialogue. Okay, no one has the right to not let you express yourself. That's just my thoughts. Okay, just be polite to each other, and especially to me, the host. All right, let's continue to ear hustle.
To reach their end user and market their service and their
Well,
product.
thank you for that question, because honestly, we were getting hit up. They use it for virtual advertising, and they pay very little for it and nothing for it. And small businesses have become very successful because of TikTok. And we didn't think of that, when everyone's saying, oh, TikTok and this and that. But over the last 6 months, I was called by so many people saying they're going to go out of business if they can, because they use it virtually as a advertising tool, and without it, they wouldn't have anything. They wouldn't be able to get the word out about their good product or whatever it is they're selling. So it's a very important thing for small business. It's another reason I wanted to do the deal so badly. So let's go to another subject now, if we might, okay? And Will, please.
About farmers.
Yes, go ahead.
What does that look like? Is that going to be direct checks to farmers, or is it going to be...
Well, we haven't decided that. We'll be dealing with Brooke later, and the Secretary of Agriculture, and we'll figure out how to get money to the farmers. And again, this comes out of the large amount, hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff money that's pouring into the country. The tariffs, remember when I said a long time ago, I said it's the greatest word, it's my favorite word in the world, then I had to say, I was forced to say other things, and of course, rightfully so. Love, family, religion. So I think I put tariff number 5. I was forced because the fake news did a big number on me. It's one of those little, but let's say it's my 5th favorite word, the word tariff. But it's making our country very rich. And when our country is rich, I'm able to help the farmers, and I'm able to help even other countries that are in trouble. But we're able to help people that are in trouble. Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. It's all a tremendous amount. And I heard numbers coming in today, Scott, where the numbers were very high, right?
The economic numbers were off the charts, sir.
Unfortunately, right? Because this is the only country in the world where you announce great numbers and the stock market goes down. Because when you announce great numbers, they immediately want to take that success away by raising the interest rates. Why can't you announce great numbers and let them lower the interest rate so you can make numbers? This is the only they announced. I don't know if you heard. Could you just tell them what the number was?
That is 3.88% growth. the biggest in years. And the important thing is the president says this is going to be non-inflationary growth, just like it was in his first term. So strong growth, low inflation, real wage gains, and to the question on small business optimism under President Trump last week hit a multi-year high. So small businesses, Main Street is back under President Trump.
But isn't it crazy? So I saw the market was down a little bit today. I mean, in all fairness, I don't feel guilty because we've set every record you can imagine. But I say, oh, the numbers must be good. Meaning the growth numbers are phenomenal. And again, this is during, but a little bit of the heavy, the really success and the money pouring into our country through the tariffs. And I just say, why can't we have great numbers and lower the interest rates so we have even greater numbers? So people were saying, oh, the numbers are so good, they're going to have to raise interest rates. That doesn't have to happen. And there's no inflation. We have the only thing we have is great success. We're having unbelievable success. So the numbers are much higher than anticipated, except for by me and Scott and some of the other people. And they'll get a lot higher than that, too. But I don't want to, every time we have good numbers, say, let's take all the juice out by raising interest rates. It's so backwards.
Mr. President, they don't appreciate the importance of the third leg of your stool because trade, taxes, and deregulation allows for significant upside growth without inflation. So eventually the people at the Fed will be able to focus on this like Alan Greenspan did in the 90s. You can have strong growth and low inflation, and I think we can get the stock market up, Wall Street, Main Street, both doing well.
And we want low interest rates. There's no reason that every time we announce these record numbers, these numbers are way above projections by, all the great geniuses out there. And I knew this was going to happen. So they had 71 different people and only 2 got it right. Me and another gentleman from, I think, my wonderful Wharton School of Finance, actually. So anyway, but I really want you to look at that. Every time we have good numbers, they say this is a good time because they're guarding against inflation that may happen in 2 years from now. We have to change our thinking. We should be rewarded for good numbers, not penalized.
So, Mr. President, is that 3.8? Is that the start of a 3% growth for the entire year?
The number was projected at 2 because we're in a little bit of a transition period, but that transition period's ending faster than we thought on tariffs. The money coming in is much greater than people thought, and there's no inflation, essentially. There's no inflation. We just went through the worst inflation in the history of our country under sleepy Joe Biden. He was sleeping, and the inflation was really bad, worst ever. They say 48 years, I'll take that too, but I think it was probably the worst inflation we ever had because of spending and energy going through the roof and everything else. By the way, energy is way down. And you're going to really be impressed when you hear what happened today with President Erdogan of Turkey. I think it's great for both countries. I think it's great. We have great relationships with a lot of countries. And you may be even more happy when you find out because we spoke with Bibi Netanyahu today and we spoke to all the leaders in the Middle East who are great people. And we're getting pretty close to having a deal on Gaza and maybe even peace, which would be the first time in about, 2,000 years, I think. In the region, I'd say the first in, Steve, what would you say, first in 2,000 years or maybe 1,000?
2 millennium.
It's a long time. Yeah, go ahead.
Did Erdogan agree to stop buying Russian oil?
I don't want to say that, but if I want him to, he will. Yeah.
But you didn't think that?
Well, I didn't say, okay, you stop, but I believe you. I believe he will stop it, yeah. You know why? Because he can buy from a lot of other people. You know who really can't is Hungary. Hungary's got, they're landlocked, and they don't have a nice ocean where ships can sail in from all over the world. They have one pipeline coming. Because I spoke with, he's a great guy, he's a great friend of mine, but, that's a harder word for that. And Slovakia, too. They're sort of married to one pipeline. So I just don't want to have people go blaming them when, we spoke to them at length today. And it's seems like that, for them it's a little, but that's not. Turkey has a lot of options. He's a great president, a very smart man, and he's going to take. He's going to do what's right. But we had a very good conversation having to do with the purchase of military equipment, etc. Any other questions?
Would you be able to deal on F-35s, Mr. President?
I will be able to easily if I want. So we may do that. Yeah.
But not yet.
Well, it depends. He's going to do something for us. Yeah, please.
Is the U.S. government sanctions on Turkey?
Can I ask you, we're a few days away.
By the way, here we go with this guy. Go ahead, let's go. Let's hear the
We're a few
question.
days away from the end of the fiscal year and a potential shutdown.
Right.
There's going to be a government shutdown?
Could be, because the Democrats are.
Let me say this. And I am so tired. They always threatening us with a doggone shutdown. My goodness, it's always going to be a government shutdown. But let me say something also about the tariffs. President Donald Trump needs to stop with these tariffs on these countries because they don't want our dollars anymore. Do y'all understand that, America? They don't want our dollars anymore. That's why BRICS is talking. That's why other countries such as Russia and Africa and China are talking. And they're really trying to get this to go digital. America is not the superpower that you once knew it as. Okay? It just really isn't. And if you don't wake up to that now, you're going to be lost when you see the fall of the dollar plummet. Okay? The fiat is going down only because of the push with these tariffs. Okay? And hey, let me say something. Donald Trump was a businessman, still is a businessman. Okay? Now, he's older than me, but I remember when Trump sent all of his business offshore. Okay, I remember when Trump sent all of his business offshore to China and had China manufacturing things and bringing it back. I remember those days in the 80s, President Trump. I'm one of the ones who remembers, but now they do stuff to benefit the rich. And that's just how it is. Okay, because why are the poor always paying more taxes and the rich don't have to pay no taxes? It's a backward system. But anyway, I digress. These tariffs are going to backfire. They're going to backfire because America does not have the power that it once had. Okay? The other countries are figuring out, hey, we don't need the fiat money. We don't need the oil money anymore from America. But anyway, I'm going to let you all finish listening. We're ear hustling. He's pretty much moved on from the conversation of TikTok, and he is just answering questions from the press. We're ear hustling. My name is Ethereal. Double tap your screen as you come in the building and subscribe today. Let's go.
Crazed. They don't know what they're doing. They want to have the border opened up so that criminals can pour in. We're doing unbelievable borders closed and people are coming into our country legally. They continue to want to have men and women's sports. They continue to want to have transgender for everyone. They want to raise everybody's taxes at a number that's not sustainable. It's the only time in the world I've ever seen a party that wants to raise taxes. I grew up in a family where I'd watch politics, and I always liked it from the time I was very young, but I'd always see politicians say, we will lower your taxes. These guys, they campaign on raising your taxes, but they want to raise taxes very substantially.
The one thing they're concerned about, Republicans have total control of Washington. Guys have control of the House, the Senate.
Welcome in, Carla. How you
we
doing?
Take control. So we need 60 votes for this, and we have 53 Republicans, so we need 7 Democrats.
And they're asking for an extension of a tax credit on people who get the Affordable Care Act and some other government-backed health care. So are you willing to...
Well, what they're really asking for is they want to pay for illegal aliens that have come into our country by the millions and get onto the rolls, and they want to pay. And our people don't want to do that. Our people are taxed enough. We just approved
Say that
the
again.
largest tax decrease ever in the history of our country, including the extension of the previous Trump tax cuts. The tax cuts that we just approved, they want to use those tax cuts to give the money to illegal aliens, people that came into our country illegally, ended up leaving the country. There's been a self-deportation because of what we've been doing that's been incredible. Okay, yeah, please.
Secretary Asa is inviting military leaders from all around the
country on Tuesday. Will you also be there?
From all around the country to what?
He was inviting the generals and admirals to Virginia for a big meeting.
Well, I know. I love it. I mean, I think it's great. Let him be friendly. Let him be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world. Why is there something? Nobody says something wrong with it.
What is it about? Will you be there personally? Is nothing. What is it about?
Well, I'll be there if they want me, but why is that such a big deal? I mean, the fact that we're getting along with the generals and admirals from all. Remember, I'm the president of peace. It's good to get along. It's good. You act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
Is it a big story? I mean,
I don't think it is, sir.
I would think it's no, but isn't it a good story? I mean, we're respected from all over the world as a military force. I rebuilt the military during my first term, even though we gave a chunk of it away to Afghanistan. But we're talking Afghanistan too, by the way, about Bagram and about that. But that's a very small amount compared to what we rebuilt it by. But I rebuilt the military, and we're very respected. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world, without question. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We're selling the equipment to others.
That's a tell. Russia has the strongest military, and China. That's just my 2 cents.
Other countries, and a lot of generals want to be here, and they want to look at they're also going to be touring equipment sites. They're going to be talking about the newest weapons, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's great when generals and top people want to come to the United States to be with a now called Secretary of War. Does everybody like the name? I do.
You said something really interesting this week about Ukraine, that you thought Ukraine could get back all the territory that Russia had taken.
Yeah, they have a shot at it, because Russia...
What prompted you to change your thoughts on that?
Well, because I've been watching the way what Russia's been doing. I'm very dissatisfied with what Russia's doing and what President Putin is doing. I haven't liked it at all. He's killing people for no reason whatsoever. And they are doing very poorly. They have put it all out on the line. Their economy is going to hell. They're bombing the hell out of everything, and they're picking up a very little territory, if any. In fact, they're losing some territory. So I think it's been very bad for the reputation of Russia. This war should have been over. If this were our war, we would have had it over in 1 week. And they're getting into 4th year, Jeff.
He's funny. Howard Stern for president. 2028.
In the last month, they've taken very little, and you've been reporting on all the bombing, all the drones all over the place, 900 drones coming into certain areas like Kiev in one night. And with all of that work, they've taken over very little. So now I'm very disappointed in President Putin. I thought I solved 7 wars. In fact, we have a great leader coming. We have the Prime Minister of Pakistan coming. The Field Marshal, Pakistan Field Marshal is a very great guy, and so is the Prime Minister, both. And they're coming, and they may be in this room right now. I don't know, because we're late. And they said maybe they'd like to join they actually may be somewhere in the beautiful Oval Office. Yeah, please, behind you.
On Gaza, did you promise leaders this week that you would not allow Israel to annex the West Bank? Is that something that you said?
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Netanyahu about this.
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay?
Yes,
please.
Jasmine Crockett recently.
Jasmine Crockett. Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great David Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one, because she shouldn't even be in the group. So I have no idea what you're doing.
So just a side note, that's where y'all be getting this low IQ thing from President Trump. Let me say something about the IQ test. That test was developed by people who orchestrated it to basically serve the people who they wanted to serve, and not other folks. Okay, so I mean, just read between the lines. Okay, so I got it now. Anyway, Let's continue.
But I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson. Between her and Ilman Omar and the group. You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back. And he said, I don't want her. Okay, what else? Go ahead. Let's hear what Crockett said. Go ahead.
You compared ICE raids to slave patrol. I want to ask you.
To slaves?
To slave patrol. I want to ask you if you think that there should be consequences for members of Congress who make these types of comparisons or use
Yeah. Well, I think she's gone over the line, and I think a lot of the people. Look, the Democrats have become radical left lunatics.
Let me say this. If you know anything about history, you know the police were the slave patrol. Okay. So this reporter just asked, that ICE is being compared to the slave patrol, basically a newer version, an upgraded version of the slave patrol. I say yes. It's because the police, that's their foundation. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard that there was a shooting up in Houston, I believe, Dallas or Houston. I'm going to report on that probably later, or maybe not, because it did happen yesterday. At the ICE office, there was a shooting, but they're being targeted now. ICE is being targeted. And I told you about blowback. But anyway, we're ear hustling, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the Oval Office. We're on the wall ear hustling. The president was talking about TikTok and the Americans on TikTok, y'all. I guess we can give them a hand clap for that. Yeah. But will all Americans want to stay on the server that is completely owned and going to be operated by Americans? They're saying they're trying to save you. They're trying to protect your national security, when they've been stealing and selling you like slaves on the chopping block. Okay, already. So the lies they do tell. It was big business. That's all it was. They seen TikTok wasn't a child's app, and they came in with a whirlwind. We got to get in on this money. That's all that was about, y'all. They don't Bitmo. Okay, let me take it back to Ebonics a little further down the line. They don't Bitmo care about your security. You understand? They care about that dollar bill, though. Anyway, so we passed them talking about TikTok, and so he's taking questions from the press. Go ahead, double tap your screen as you come in the building and subscribe to the platform today. This is an open platform for anyone and everyone to express themselves. You can put it in the chat. Make sure you be most kind and respectful to one another. No cursing in the chat, and respectful to the host, or you'll get a gold ticket to the block party. We have them every time we go live. We got refreshments over there, and you can go meet the people who've been sent to the abyss, baby. All right, here we go. Lock it in.
They have policies that nobody's going to buy, and I see what's going on in New York. We're going to have perhaps a communist mayor because it's split up. If the people would get together and have one candidate, they'd have I think a pretty good chance, but it looks like maybe they're not going to do that. But we're going to end up with a communist mayor. It's not even believable, my beautiful New York. When I left New York to become president, it was a great place, but it was the beginning of bad things because we had de Blasio had just started as mayor, and I said, this guy's a real nut job. Went to Harvard to teach management. Can you believe it? He went to Harvard to teach city management along with the mayor of Chicago, who went to Harvard to teach. The two of them are teaching how to manage a city and to manage it into hell is what they do. But that was the beginning, and now we're going to go a step further. Now we're going with the communists. Can I be honest? I think it's the greatest thing to ever happen to the Republican Party. I really do. I think if a communist takes over New York City, I think that's a gift to the Republican Party. It's in New York, but it's a gift. And New York will recover because sometimes you need a shock like that to straighten you out. But it's politically, it's probably a very good thing.
Immigration, crime, and the World Cup, actually. So
that's a lot of.
You have a number of cities that are pushing back against your immigration deportation move, as well as your crime initiatives. Some of those cities,
I don't think they're very much.
But some of those cities have World Cup games. Yeah. Seattle, San Francisco.
They're going to be very secure.
But could those games move if they don't cooperate with your crime?
Well, that's an interesting, I guess, but we're going to make sure they're safe. They're run by radical left lunatics, and that don't know what they're doing. Look at Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C. You, Jeff, will not be mugged walking down the street. You can walk down the street with your family. You can walk down your street with your wife, your daughter, your son, and you're not going to be. We took out 1,700 career criminals that we're not allowing back, and we have this city in great shape. You know, there was a time when not long ago, when every single week you'd have at least one murder. And look what's happening with Washington. It's safe. I went to dinner in Washington just to prove a point. I gave a press conference in the middle of a street. I wouldn't say Secret Service was thrilled, but I did it, and here I am. Look, Washington, D.C. is such a great example of what can be done. We did it in 12 days. We made it very safe in 12 days, and now it's much safer than that. One other thing, I drove around Washington over the weekend, and I said, look at the difference. The grass looked great. Everything looked great. You know, we had a lot of our National Guard, and we didn't ask them to do it. They did it themselves. They're proud. They're great. And they were picking up paper. They were cleaning it. The place looked really beautiful.
President
so
Trump, let me stop you right. Stop you, line. The National Guard ain't just went walking around the White House in Washington talking about, let's just pick up the trash. That probably was an order because they ain't had nothing else to do. They probably was commanded to go pick up that doggone trash. You're using them as a cleanup crew. Stop lying. That's just my thoughts.
In D.C., as you probably know, we're going into Memphis and we're going into some other cities, and very soon we're going to go into Chicago. It will be safe for the World Cup. If I think it isn't safe, we'll move it into a different city. Absolutely. We'll take the world. If I think it's not, it's actually a very fair question. If I think it's not safe, we're going to move it out of that city. If, like the governor of Illinois, who is, look, between last week and the week before, 11 murders, and 38 people were shot. Then he gets up and says, this is a very safe. And then he says crime is better. The reason crime is better is because Cash put about 5 months of FBI people there to get ready for when we go in, and they've lowered it a little bit, like 20, 25%, which isn't good enough, but it's a good start. But that was only put there because they're preparing for us to go in. And they've done a good job. So then Pritzker gets up, we've lowered crime 25%. It's because the FBI was there. So, no, if any city we think is going to be even a little bit dangerous for the World Cup or for the Olympics, when they have Olympic overthrow, right? But for the World Cup in particular, because they're playing in so many cities, we won't allow it to go. We'll move it around a little bit. But I hope that's not going to happen. Yeah.
Director Patel this morning indicated that the shooter in Dallas had been using an app. Does your administration have any plans to take down those apps or get them removed?
Well, I can't tell you about that, but it tells you when they want to wear masks or they want to hide a little bit, why that's so important. But these are great patriots, the ICE, and what a tough job they have. What an unbelievably tough job they have. And think of it, what are they doing? They're taking hardcore criminals out of our country and putting them back. These were largely criminals that were given to us by Joe Biden and his group of radical maniacs that surrounded this desk, just like these people surround the desk now, but they're not maniacs, they're very solid people.
Thank you, sir.
I'm glad I prefaced. But they're great. We have a great cabinet. We have great people. And he didn't have great people. He had terrible people. Look at Afghanistan. Look at the people he had running our military. That could happen. The most embarrassing day in the history of our country was Afghanistan. And 13 young people died. They don't ever talk about the 38 that were horribly wounded with legs and arms and everything else, really horribly wounded. So the country's respected like it's probably almost never been respected before. I think we're respected at a level. And a year ago, it was a dead country. We had a dead country a year ago. This country was dying. It was really in bad shape. Let's talk about the next subject, shall we?
One of the most powerful deterrents we have to violent crime is the death penalty. As you said, your administration has taken bold, decisive steps to ensure that Washington, D.C. is once again a safe and secure city for its residents and all who visit. This is a presidential memorandum that directs your Attorney General and your U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Judge Janine Pirro, to fully implement the death penalty here in Washington, D.C., where the evidence and facts of a case indicate that the death penalty should be used.
Okay? Everybody understand death penalty in Washington. You kill somebody, or if you kill a police officer, law enforcement officer, death penalty. So again, it's way down. I mean, we have had week after week after week where we haven't had a murder. I said that the other day in front of the president of Poland. The press was here, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce that Washington, D.C. has not had a death in 4 weeks, a murder. And he looked at me and goes, is that good or bad? You know, he said, what kind of a place is this? But it's true for years. I mean, every week, essentially, somebody got killed or more than one. And this is a very safe city right now.
I don't know about that. I don't know about all that President Trump.
We took these careers
Cause for the cause. I don't know about that. I mean, he's signing executive order for the death penalty, you know, if you kill someone in Washington, D.C. But people they starting to lie. People starting to lie down there in Washington, D.C. They got a couple right now that just lied on a black man, talking about this black man. Hold on, let me see if I can get a picture of them and put it up there. A picture, let me see if I can get it. White couple, let me look it up real quick. White couple in Washington, D.C. lies on black man. Lied on this black man to get him arrested, y'all. Saying that this black man tried to kill, attack him, or threaten to kill him, his wife, and the baby. Like black people don't just go. It just, hold on, let me get this picture, see if I can share it with y'all really quick, because I'm so sick of it. And then you got the president signing death penalty, but you got to do something about folks just lying. You know what I'm saying? Folks just come out lying, trying to get folks in trouble. It just reminds me of Emmett Till, situation with Emmett Till, you know, just people just lie. And then folks wind up 6 feet under for no reason at all over a lie. Or I'm trying to get the couple. I just got the husband's picture. And so you can be, and it's so sad, guys. We're gonna listen to that. Hold on, matter of fact, let me save this. Because once we're finished listening to President Trump, I'm gonna let y'all listen to what went down, this lie that just happened in Washington, D.C. Hold on, let me get this back and see if I can get the picture. If I can't get the picture, we'll go to the audio after we finish ear hustling. We're in the Oval Office with the president. I'm your host, Ethereal. Go ahead and get the thumbs up as you come into the building. I'm going to try to get this picture up here to show you all. Folks be lying on black people. And that might just become another extended epidemic, okay? Let's go.
They left the word criminal out, but we took the careers out of here. And they're now brought back to their homes, they're in jail, or they're in a jail in another country, and hopefully they're not coming back. And we have to maintain it. You can't just leave, and we have to maintain it. We've gotten along fairly well with the mayor. You know, she's getting a party that hates that the city's becoming safe. I mean, they're actually criticizing her because the city's becoming safe. But this is becoming this is right now a safe city. This went from the most unsafe city in the country to the safest city in the country. There's no city any safer. That's a pretty big achievement. And we really did it in 12 days. But if you add an extra week to it, that'd be nice. And I mean, you can go out to dinner. Restaurants are booming. You know, the restaurants were dead. They were dead. Okay. Even if you got to the restaurant.
So I can't get that picture pulled up. I got too much on this in the gallery over here. So before we continue going further with ear hustling, I just want to make this just flow better. Okay, so we're going to go straight into listening to the couple give a false report in Washington, D.C. to have a black man arrested. I mean, that is just the most horrible thing I think you can do to a person, is lie on them and know that this person can either be killed, you know, whatever may happen. It's just horrible. So let's get to it.
So we're going to press charges.
Let's go to the top.
So this guy just said he wanted to murder our baby as we were walking past. And now they're going to under arrest. He said, I'm going to murder your wife and baby.
Yeah, he literally said that. This guy right there, when we're walking past.
So we're going to press charges.
He said he wanted to kill our white baby. How sick can people be? This is disgusting.
Let me say something. Black folks ain't just gonna walk up to you and say, I want to kill your white baby. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Folks, black men are not just gonna walk up to you talking about, I'm gonna kill you and your white baby. That just sounds suspect already. I would have told them if I was a police officer, please get out my face, because you're lying. You're lying. We don't just do that. I'm gonna kill you and your white baby. That's a lie. He lied, and his wife lied, and they holding their baby in the hand. So the baby getting a lying vibe all over the baby. The baby gonna grow up lying. Let's continue.
Disgusting. I'm completely outraged. You can't even walk down the streets of Washington, D.C. without people acting like this. Thank God we reported it to the police and are dealing with the guy. I cannot believe this right now.
Yes, you can, because you made it up. Yes, you can, because you made it up. Let's go to the follow-up on this.
The past 2 days, I've been sharing the story and updates about a MAGA couple who got an innocent black man arrested. Joel Tenney and Sarah Elizabeth Tenney claimed that upon leaving their dinner at Joe's Seafood in D.C., that a black man allegedly said that he was going to unalive Sarah Elizabeth and their baby. And for the past 2 days, people have asked me if I had any updates, if we have any way to help the brother that has been falsely accused. And well, I do have some updates. And for the audience, feel free to grab a seat while you get this tea. But this message is specifically to Joel Tenney, who thought that that black man didn't have community or have support. Hey, Joel, in one of your videos, you actually claimed that that man's record should have been looked into a little bit deeper because you found him to be violent, actually very violent. I don't have any knowledge of a violent history. Not at this time, but let me actually take 1 second. I would have to do some editing, digging into his history in order to
You might have to do a little research because you got about an hour and a half, and if this guy is a violent offender, hold on. You don't have to give us any information, but if this guy is a violent offender and there is some legal precedent to hold him, then he needs to be held because he could be a danger to the public.
Well, Barb.
And this is what pisses me off. He know he lying. This white man know he lying. He's white. He's MAGA. Just because you can't see the video, I have to explain and give you the details. He's MAGA. He's white, and his white wife, and they said this black man walked up to him and his white family and said he wanted to kill them and the white baby. Now the man got him locked up. The man getting ready to get released because they ain't got no proof on what this man has said. He has called, trying to tell them they need to dig harder. Find something on this black man. Find something. This is we're paused, okay? If you're coming into the building late, we are ear hustling. We were in the Oval Office, but we had to take a break and go into the hallway real quick. Okay? We in the hallway. We had to go to the TikTok hallways, okay? Because President Trump just signed an executive order about death penalties in Washington, D.C. But I said that's so dangerous because you got folks still acting like they back in the 1950s and 40s. That ain't too far ago, huh? Oh, lying on folks just because they black, just because they think they got the superiority. And this couple right here trying to force the issue, a lie. This is dangerous indeed. But let's continue to hear the update about this so innocent and pure MAGA couple.
Informed you, Joel Tenney, that man did not have a violent criminal history or record. You said that she should dig a little deeper. And I thought, light bulb moment, Joel Tenney. And with $1 and a dream and public records, I dug a little deeper. And oddly enough, I found a criminal record of someone who has a similar name to you. Now, could possibly be a mix-up, and there's multiple Joel Tenneys in the world born on August 7th, 1996, just like your Facebook says. Because I would hate that when this black man has to sue you. Past 2 days, I've been sharing the story and update. Here's some updates from my previous video about the MAGA couple who got an innocent black man arrested in D.C. this past week. And just to bring you up to speed, this couple pictured here, Joel Tenney and his wife, Sarah Elizabeth, accused an innocent black man of claiming that he was going to unalive her and their baby. They made this false claim while literally being 1 to 2 blocks away from the White House, which is currently heavily policed. The second update is the black man in this video, and I could only get a quick screen grab, was charged with felony threats with a hate bias enhancement. Based on information I received, this man has no prior record. I have found Joel's Facebook, Joel's LinkedIn, his TikTok, and his Instagram. And it is very apparent that his intention was to incite violence. Mentioning in his Instagram caption, with all these race-motivated unalivings and the death just yesterday of Charlie Kirk. Meanwhile, we all have seen who unalived Charlie Kirk, which was not somebody that was outside of his race. And Joel Tenney has yet to correct that caption. On a post that Joel Tenney put on his Facebook page, which was far different from his Instagram, he mentions the Ukrainian woman that was unalived by a black man on a bus, and even mentions that Wonder Breads are now the minority race of the world and how they are marginalized and suffer from bigotry and racism. Because of the contacts that I have and the work that I do in DC and just overall grassroots, we are going to ensure that the brother that was unlawfully arrested because of this couple and their false claims, that he gets some semblance of justice. Here's some updates from my previous.
So I got a little comment to make about this guy, Joel, and his wife, Sarah, who got an innocent African-American arrested just because of the color of his skin. I know I wasn't there, and I can't make any deems of guilty and innocent, but when your story just keeps on fucking changing, we're pretty sure you're lying. But I'm noticing the more clout that they keep on getting for this bullshit little story they've got is actually causing them to add more to it. You see, in the police report, Joel apparently told the officer that this man walked by, looked him in the face, continued walking the entire time he said it, and said, "I'm gonna that white baby," and continued moving forward. Then all of a sudden he changes it because it went to, "I'm gonna that white baby and your wife." But then in their recent little video, all of a sudden he stopped and looked at them and kept on going, just kept on agitating it before walking away, saying he was gonna off the baby and the wife and continued to call her a white bitch. So basically, an innocent African-American was walking down the street in Washington, D.C. A white couple pointed him out, said, "I want that guy arrested," called the police, and it happened. So I got a little comment to make about this guy, Joel.
For the past 2 days, I've been sharing. People have asked me if I have any updates.
Let's continue. Everybody talking about it.
Trump's military takeover in D.C.
Hold on.
Think Trump's plan to take over?
And not a single comment about his shirt.
Hold on.
And not a single comment about his shirt.
I got a comment, man. Don't you dare do it, man. Don't. The brother and sister.
A MAGA couple in D.C. just pulled a.
So this guy.
I'm not going to keep flipping through. Y'all get the point. Just lying on black folk. And so what concerns me about us just in the Oval Office ear hustling with Donald Trump today, 9/25/25, signing an executive order of the death penalty. If you got folks that can't even be, keep a lie out of their mouth, it's going to be some trouble. It's going to be some trouble. If you want to preserve your race, that's fine. But don't go around lying. That's why people don't be liking half of y'all, because y'all be lying too much. Stop lying on us. Go live your life, right? Live your life. Hey. But try to lie, and that's just stirring the pot. Do you understand? That's stirring the pot. But it seems like the MAGAs want to stir the pot. For what? If it's not that many of y'all might just want to go sit down somewhere and enjoy your life and your freedoms as you have it. Your whatever they call it. Your privilege. Just go enjoy yourself. Stop trying to stir a pot. Because that's why, that's why they scared America. Because they know their birth rates are down. They're not producing any babies like they were before. This is a fact, not being racist, not being hateful. I can't be racist, but not being bigoted, none of that. MAGA, your birth rates are down. And they're not climbing up too fast. They not. I've been trying to tell my folks on my side of the block, it's a plan. It's a plan. Your birth rates are down. Now you got folks talking about a civil war. The thing that's going to help them wipe out more of the browns and the browns and the darker browns. Because your birth rate is down and you want to continue to maintain superiority. Let's just keep it real. But as you see that your birth rate's down, go look it up. Go look it up. Y'all like statistics. Go look it up. Don't come in the comments if you haven't looked it up. If you haven't looked it up, don't come in here with your hillbilly thoughts. Okay? Go look it up. And you might be wondering why they've been pushing interracial marriages to preserve your bloodline. That's right. But I don't want to go too deep. We're going to go back to the Oval Office. Y'all want to get deep? Y'all go ahead and subscribe to the channel today. Subscribe to the channel today, and I'll give you some secrets that you might not know. But while you go ahead and subscribe, do some homework. Don't come in here with silliness. Don't come in here acting dumb. Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself. This ain't the channel for it. It's a channel for discussion and debate, sure, but not dumbness. Okay, we're allergic to that over here. We're going back to the Oval Office. We're ear hustling. I'm your host, Ethereal. Get the thumbs up and subscribe today.
And then somebody would come in and hold you up. They'd hold up the whole restaurant. They go to Uber, young ladies in the White House. They'd call Uber for protection. They'd run to the car because they were petrified to be from the entrance of their building to the car. Now they feel safe. They're in the car, and then the car gets hijacked while they're in the back of the car. This is what we were living in. We were living in hell. People that work in the White House, every time they see me, young women in particular, say, "Thank you, sir." And I don't even ask them about what. I know exactly. I made their lives. Now they're living in a beautiful, glamorous place called Washington, D.C. with no crime, and that's the way it should be. Okay? This is the death penalty for somebody that kills people in Washington, D.C. I think it's capital. It's a very interesting capital punishment, capital city. Right? It's capital. But this is our capital city. We can't allow that to happen. People come in, look at the getting killed. It doesn't happen anymore. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's guilty for the person that did it. And this goes into effect. Yes, sir. Right? Pam, is that right? Could you speak a little bit about that?
Yes, sir. Not only are we seeking it in Washington, D.C., but all over the country again. And as you saw very recently, we are now moving the inmates who were on death row, who Joe Biden or the auto pen commuted their sentences off of death row. We're moving them to supermax facilities where they will be treated like they're on death row for the rest of their lives, President Trump.
Okay, that's a big statement. Thank you very much. Okay. I see some of you shaking your heads very positively. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, fellas.
You said on the campaign trail that
it said it.
The death penalty if anybody illegal killed a U.S. citizen or a police officer. So this just reinforces your campaign promise.
And most people really like it. And Washington, again, it's going to serve as a beacon because you have to do it. These are bad people. When you look at that, the guy that killed the young lady in North Carolina, he'll be in trial for years. Get a good lawyer somewhere along the line. Somebody will come along and what he did to that young lady. And she went into that train scared. When she went in, the way she sat down, she was scared to just be there. She just wanted to not pay any attention to anybody, just not be noticed. And she had her throat slit.
Hold up, President Trump. Hold up. You wrong for that. You wrong for that. Now you going to say, how you know she wasn't scared? How you know she was scared? She wasn't tired. She wasn't cold. Oh, because you seen black folks on the train. Black folks represents be scared. Be scared. Is that what you're saying, President Trump? Now, see, I'm about to get hot. I'm about to get firecracker hot. I'm about to pop. Firecracker hot. That was that. See, the problem is this is what I have. That's why I have a problem with some of President Trump's rhetoric. He be up here not trying to squash all the fear, all the anxiety that's going on in America right now, especially after Charlie Kirk's assassination, especially after you got white folks marching in the street, white man fight back. Who the hell you fighting back? Yo folks crashing out. Yo folks is crashing out. They just had President Trump shooter, when he got an attempted assassination on President Trump, his shooter, did y'all know he was in trial today, tried to kill himself? Did you know that? Did you know that he was in trial today trying to kill himself? Do you know he was a white man? The one that shot President in his ear, they said it nicked him on the ear, looked like a little ketchup the Secret Service squirted on him when they had held him down. Mm-hmm. He was on trial today. What was his name? Let me get my notes because I'm always taking notes. I'm always paying attention. Ruth. Try to take yourself out today in court. Y'all know that? Huh? No, y'all didn't know that. Did you know he was a white man too? All these assassinations, all these school shootings that's been happening, white folk crashing out. But you're not trying to, I'm talking to President Trump, not trying to, calm people's nerves. You're trying to make them be more nervous. And look here, Samantha. How the hell you know she was nervous? Samantha? Huh? How the hell you know she was nervous? Do white people have a certain beacon that they send out? Do your pheromones go off and it's spread out to the world to let every white person know you nervous because you see some black person on a train? Stop it. That's the problem right here. Samantha, she one of the people eating up all of the negativity President Trump is spewing out. Low key, although it is. But it's still negativity. President Trump can't tell if that woman was nervous. What was going on with her? Huh? But y'all gonna say, yeah, she was nervous. Oh, she was nervous. What made her nervous? She had to clutch her purse and grip her purse closer to her. Y'all bringing back that stereotype? Huh, Samantha? No, you suck, Samantha. I said, no, you suck, Samantha. Because you're trying to clutch your pearls and hold your purse tight. Because it's a black person. Oh, it's a train with a couple of black folks on it. Clutch your pearls. Hold your purses, ladies. Tight to your body. We're nervous. Shut it up, Samantha. He needs to stop inciting fear. Do you understand? Do you understand that's a problem with me saying that? He should be saying that. As the president of the so-called, the powerful nation that we're supposed to be, he inciting fear in his own nation. He know everybody on the wire. He know people ready to pop. And he's still sitting in the Oval Office inciting violence and making folks nervous. Oh, she was just scared. That black man came in and she was scared. I could tell she was scared when she came into the train. President Trump, you was wrong for that. You are wrong for that. You need to stop inciting fear amongst the American people because but I see the plan. I see the play. You want us to go out here and act crazy because you got to have anarchy in the streets for you to fully announce martial law. You want anarchy in the streets. I'm sick of it.
In this country anymore. We're not going to have it in this country anymore. Thank you very much. Next.
Lastly, sir, this is a presidential memorandum on countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence. In recent weeks, months, and years, we've seen a tremendous upsurge in some highly visible, but also other acts of domestic terrorism and organized political violence being perpetrated by radical, politically motivated groups all over the country. What this presidential memorandum will do is set off an administration-wide response to that, ranging from the Joint Terrorism Task Forces to other components of the Department of Justice to the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Treasury. We're looking at interdicting these groups, preventing them from performing acts of violence, and also looking at sources of organization and funding and support that prop them up and allow them to do the acts that they have been doing.
We're looking at the funders of a lot of these groups, and when you see the signs, and they're all beautiful signs made professionally, these aren't your protesters that make the sign in their basement late in the evening because they really believe it. These are anarchists and agitators, professional anarchists and agitators, and they get hired by wealthy people, some of whom I know, I guess, probably know them. And you wouldn't know it. You're at dinner with them, everything's nice, and then you find out that they funded millions of dollars to these lunatics. Steve, could you say a couple of words?
Yes, Mr. President. This is a very historic and significant day. This is the first time in American history that there is an all-of-government effort to dismantle left-wing terrorism, to dismantle Antifa, to dismantle violence and terrorism. What we have seen, if you look at whether it be going back to the riots, that started with Black Lives Matter and all the way through to the Antifa riots, the attacks on ICE officers, the doxing campaigns, and now the political assassinations, these are not lone, isolated events. This is part of an organized campaign of radical left terrorism. It is structured, it is sophisticated, it is well-funded, it is well-planned. There is really no parallel like this to anything else in the country right now. There is an entire system of feeder organizations that provide money, resources, weapons, and when they're attacking ICE officers, they're attacking federal buildings, or they're isolating public officials for harassment, doxing, intimidation, and ultimately attempted assassination. It is all carefully planned, executed, and thought through. It is terrorism on our soil. Because of this executive order, Cash and Pam are going to have the tools they need, working with Scott, to take these organizations apart piece by piece. Top of that effort is going to be the Joint Terrorism Task Force, or JTTF, which sits inside the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But for those at home who are worried about terrorism in this country, they need to understand, because of President Trump's strength, because of his vision, because of his leadership, we are now going to use the entire force of the federal government to uproot these organizations root and branch. And again, that's only possible because of President Trump and his leadership.
Thank you, Steve. Cash, please.
Yes, as Steve was saying, Mr. President, thanks to your leadership, crime is going downward in a tremendous fashion, and that's what we want for every city in America. And the FBI's premier flagship enterprise, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, are honored to lead this initiative with our partners at Treasury and Homeland Security, because our citizens are being attacked by, as Stephen said, organized violence, and is being paid for, not by them, by other people. So what we are going to do, combining forces as Scott and I have done in these last few months, is follow the money. People and organizations have collected funds and put them out in America and organized violence across our country. And thanks to your recognition of this and this executive order and the AG's leadership to lead out and prosecute these individuals, we are properly going to chase them down like the domestic terrorists that they are. And our streets and our communities will be safer because the JTTF and the FBI, Treasury and DHS and DOJ are going to combine forces like never before to root out this new evil that is perpetrating our criminal activities across our societies. And we are just so thankful for your leadership and recognition of it. It's not easy to do.
Good job. Thank you very much,
What
Dan.
specifically do you want to target?
What?
Besides Antifa, is there a specific group or person you're targeting in this?
Any organized group.
Any organization?
Any organized group who are committing these crimes, and we're working with the Secretary of Treasury. You know what law enforcement has told us under President Trump's leadership? He's taken the handcuffs off law enforcement. They can do their jobs now, thanks to you, President Trump, and that's what's happening. And all of the agencies that Cash mentioned, we work hand in hand together. Our prosecutors were following the money with Treasury. We're working with Homeland Security. Cash's agents, all of our agents, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, combined are working, and with state and local government, to take these people off the streets who are jeopardizing lives.
So I was talking with Cash and Stephen about this a couple of days ago, sir. So I believe it was in Oregon where you had a federal building where there were men in black ski masks who were committing acts of violence, who were shutting down a government building. To the president's point, they don't come from nowhere. These are paid people. This is organized. They're committing acts of political terrorism on American soil. And it's time we had a government that looked out for the American people rather than the people who are committing violence against the American people.
So, when you go out to Portland and you see what's happening in Portland, this is like nobody's ever seen anything like it. Every night, and this has gone on for years. They just burned the place down, and the shop owners, most of them have left, but the few shops that are open, they just use plywood and just like 3/4-inch plywood. They don't put storefronts because they know it's going to be burned down. These are professional agitators.
Right.
These are bad people, and they're paid a lot of money by rich people, some of whom we know. I'm sure I know some. I don't. If I knew, I wouldn't associate because I'll be in trouble. Because Pam will say, "Why are you associating with this person?" But I will tell you that these are bad people, and they're paying a lot of money, millions of dollars. But take a look at Portland sometime. These are crazy people, and they're trying to burn down buildings, including federal buildings. And on my list of things that I want to do before we finish up with the cities, because I think we're going to whip the cities back into shape, and we have to. We cannot let our cities, and that's a small example, but it's the most violent example. It's every night, and they've done it for years. You think maybe at some point they made their point doing, but we're going to get out there, and we're going to do a pretty big number of those people in Portland that are doing that. They're professional agitators and anarchists. They're actually anarchists, yeah. Go ahead. Why don't you defend? Let's see you defend them, Jim.
No, I'm not defending anyone. I just want so that we can just explain this in our stories. Could you name a?
You don't explain it right, though, Jeff. Go ahead. Let's go. Maybe let's give you another chance. Go ahead.
Antifa, Soros. What names are we talking about?
Well, Soros is the name certainly that I keep hearing. I don't know, but Soros is the name that I hear. I hear a lot of different names. I hear names of some pretty rich people that are radical left people. Maybe I hear about a guy named Reid Hoffman. Somebody's a pretty rich guy, I guess, and I hear about him. I don't know. Maybe could be him. Could be a lot of people. We hear the same names, but they're bad, and we're going to find out. And if they are funding these things, they're going to have some problems because they're agitators and they're anarchists. These are anarchists. Really bad. Okay, yeah, please.
Mr. President, are you on
Who you with?
I'm with the Center Square. Sarah Roberts is my name. So, there's also, as you know, Antifa is not just a domestic terror or now a domestic terror organization. It's also international. I know the Netherlands is looking at also designating them a terror organization. Have you been working with your intel community and your DNI to possibly expand that to making them designating an international terror organization?
We have it's an international. In many cases, it is international.
Mr. President, if someone takes to the streets of America and says they're Antifa, what happens to them? What will happen to them?
Well, I'd say the maximum under the law, and we'll see. Now, if they kill somebody, we just signed a death penalty, so it depends where it is. But if they kill somebody, which they do, I mean, people are dying. You go out to Portland, people die out there. Many people have died over the years in Portland. Portland is, I don't know how anybody lives there. It's amazing. But it's anarchy out there. That's what they want. They want anarchy, like when they attacked Seattle and took over a big percentage of the city. I was going to go out, and we were going to do a big number. They heard that, and everybody broke up all of a sudden. But, you have governors that have to run that, and a lot of them don't do that. I don't like to go in. I'd rather have Pritzker's support when we go into Chicago. But if we don't have it,
as we get ready to close, the link has been dropped. If you would like to come up and voice anything that you've heard regarding TikTok, tariffs, now the executive order passed in Washington, D.C. for the death penalty, the link has been dropped. This is an open panel. You can voice your opinion, whether you say yay or nay for whatever the topic of today is. Make sure you don't cuss. I will leave the panel open for at least 10 minutes to see if anybody wants to join. Otherwise, we're just going to finish out with ear hustling. President Trump is in the Oval Office signing executive orders, and we are here ear hustling. My name is Ethereal. I am your host. Go ahead and double tap the screen. Get the likes up and subscribe to the channel today. The link has been dropped, so you don't have to stay lurking in the comments section. You can come up and let us hear your voice.
That's okay too, because we're paramount, and we will do what we have to do. We're going to make Chicago safe. We're going to make we're going to make as many as we can, and usually that involves a surge. But what we did with, in the case of Chicago, by having the FBI go out there 5 or 6 months ago, we brought it down a little bit. A little bit is 25%, so it's not so little, but it is when you're talking about the kind of crime and killings and murders that you hear in Chicago, but we're going to get it. Chicago's a great city. As the Union Pacific said, the head of the Union Pacific, who's a great guy, started off as a low-rung guy. He said he started in a caboose, and now he's the chairman of the Union Pacific. But he's a great guy. But he said, "Sir, don't lose Chicago." The way he said it, I said, "Boy, it really hit me." You know, here's a man that knows all the cities. The Union Pacific, I guess, is our largest railroad. And he knows all the cities. He's been doing it for 45 years. And he said, "Sir, don't lose Chicago." And the way he said that meant a lot to me. And we're going to go to Chicago first. We're going to take care of Memphis. You can't walk a block without getting shot. We're going to take care of that one. And just like we did Washington, D.C., and we're going to do Chicago very soon. Yeah. I don't know. I know it's going on because I read the papers just like you do, right? So I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that?
Can you comment on New York Times report saying that Justice Department officials have asked attorneys to target a George Soros-funded movement? Is this executive order that we just signed a part of that?
I'm not going to comment on whether there is or is not a pending investigation, but everything's on the table right now.
I don't think anybody has to ask, because if you look at Soros, he's at the top of every. In fact, sometimes they say, could he be involved in this many things? But he's in every story that I read. Stories that I read keep talking about Soros, and so I guess he'd be a likely candidate. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, that is it. We are winding up. This is so interesting. Nobody wanted to come up and talk. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be worried. I'm not going to bite your head off. I just want to hear your opinion. Okay? I mean, even when I dropped the link, y'all stopped even chatting in the chat. What's up with that? It's all good over here, guys. So, look, we've been ear hustling today. We were in the Oval Office listening to President Trump as he signed off on some executive orders, talked about TikTok. TikTok is now fully American owned, and just some tariffs talks and things of that nature. And I dropped the link, and I will be doing that more often. So just get used to seeing that link in there. And if you feel like you got something to say, you don't want to just type it in the chat, hit the link and come on up, okay? All right. As you get ready to exit, go ahead and subscribe today. This is a platform where I believe in freedom of speech as much as we can have it, right? As much as we can have it, everybody has an idea, opinion, a thought, and we should be able to express those thoughts and opinions. So, once again, go ahead, subscribe today, and on your way out, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up, like, share, and make sure you hype the video. That's a new feature here on TikTok. On YouTube, that's a new feature. Hype the video so it can get pushed out to other people who might want to come in to a community where they can talk and express their opinions and not just be in an echo chamber of just yes men, and y'all look like bobbleheads over there, just bobbing your heads away. No, we want to hear yays and nays over here so that we can develop a healthy community. I'm your host, Stereo, and y'all have a blessed day.